Today you will learn how to take a basic dough recipe and turn it into something really magical. This is a swirled bread that has Italian herbs, spices, garlic, and Parmesan cheese. Here are your ingredients, but don't worry, there'll be a link below that will give you nutrition information and more details as usual. When it comes to Parmesan, I do recommend that you get the freshly grated kind if you can afford it, but if you can't, the stuff in the can will work and it's perfectly fine. Don't ever let someone tell you that you can't substitute ingredients and that it will ruin the product. Use what you can afford. In a small saucepan on low, you want to heat 1 cup of milk, 240 milliliters, and 1/4 cup of butter, margarine, or vegetable spread, 56 grams, until it's just melted. Once you get to this stage, you're going to turn off your heat and then add your yeast mixture. If you got it a little too hot, above 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 49 degrees Celsius, let it sit 5 to 10 minutes before adding your yeast, 2 teaspoons or 7 grams. If you like, you can stir it a little bit to help it dissolve, but it's not absolutely necessary. Let's move on to the dry ingredients. 3 2/3 cup of flour, 550 grams, 1 teaspoon of salt, 5 grams, and then for some browning purposes, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar or 50 grams. You can leave the sugar out completely or reduce it if you like, if you want to try to cut out your sugar. Stir this together, and then we're just going to add in some eggs, 2 of them, 100 grams total, and you can scramble them up briefly before you add them in there just to make it a little easier to stir. And then we're going to add in that milk yeast mixture. You want to stir this until you can no longer stir it, and then you're going to turn it out onto your work surface to begin kneading it. If you desire, you can put this in a stand mixer. Just follow your stand mixer's instructions on what speed to use, and you want to mix it for 8 to 10 minutes or until it's nice and smooth and elastic. Once we have this out onto the work surface, we're just going to begin kneading it. And if you need more help than what I'm showing you here, I will give you a link below on how to knead dough. It's a very simple process. You just basically fold it in half and push it away from you until you get a very nice and elastic dough that stretches easily without tearing. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. At one stage it will get really soft and you think it is ready. Go ahead and give it a nice stretch and see what will happen. A lot of people will think this is ready, but when you try to start to stretch it, it tears really easy. It is not ready. Go ahead and keep kneading it another 2 to 3 minutes, and then it should be really pliable. If you've ever worked with Play-Doh, it should look like that, and it really should just give whenever you stretch it. You should be able to stretch it really thin before it tears at all. At this point, you can put it into a pan that is clean. If you want it easier to remove, go ahead and just spray it lightly with some oil or some non-stick cooking spray. And then you want to cover it either with some saran wrap, a lid, a damp towel, and let it rest for about 60 to 90 minutes or until it's roughly double in size. And it should look like this. When you press your hands into it, it shouldn't collapse immediately, but it shouldn't bounce back either. Turn it out onto your work surface, and then we're going to roll this into a rectangle in the best shape that we can. If it is sticking to your bench like this, go ahead and get some extra flour, about 1 teaspoon or so, and just sprinkle it on your work surface so it doesn't stick. Now, as you get better, you won't need to use the flour, but some people find that they always need to use flour, and that's perfectly fine at this stage because your dough has already risen the first stage and you're not going to add so much that it's going to affect the quality of the dough. I like to press this into a rectangle before I start to roll it out. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use the back of a glass or you can even use your hands. Now, if you use your hands, it'll be a little less even, but that is completely fine because this is homemade, and remember, homemade does not look factory made. If it is sticking to your fingers or your rolling pin, you can also lightly dust the top. Now you're just going to roll it up and down, and then every once in a while you want to pick it up and you want to turn it a 1/4 of a turn so that way it won't continue to stick. And if it is sticking, go ahead and lift up that dough on the edges and put some more flour underneath it. And you want to roll this out until you get a really big rectangle. In the end, you want the rectangle to be about 15 by 20 inches or 38 by 50 centimeters. Now you do want to pick up the edges and just let that dough relax a little, and you may stretch it out a little bit. Just try to push it back into shape, and no big deal if you don't have it a perfect rectangle. You're just looking for an approximation. As you can see, I had a little bit of an ear over there, and I just kind of tucked it back into place. Next, we're going to spread on 1/4 cup of softened butter, 56 grams. Then we're going to use some other herbs and spices. You can use butter, margarine, vegetable spread, any of it works. Just don't melt it in the microwave because if you do, you won't get those nice swirls that we're looking for in the end because it'll all melt out whenever you bake it. You also want to leave about an inch or 2.5 centimeters on one of the short ends so that it's easier to roll up. You should have a really nice thin layer of butter throughout your dough, except for that one edge that I told you to leave open. Next, we're going to add in some garlic, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic or 14 grams, and then we're going to sprinkle on top that Parmesan cheese, 1/4 cup or 43 grams. Spread it out as evenly as you possibly can. You can obviously add more or less cheese as you like. Next, we're going to put in 4 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 7 grams, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 2 grams, and then we're going to add in some garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon or 1 gram. That garlic powder really helps make that garlic stand out. Garlic powder is not as likely to bake away as fresh garlic is. Once you have a nice layer, we're going to try to cut this evenly as we can. I like to use a pizza cutter. You can use a knife if you like. Go every 2 inches, that's about 5 centimeters, and just make a mark on each side if you can. If you forget on one side, you're going to have it slightly wonky, as you see that I don't do, and you will end up with a little bit of a mess. That's okay. This is a very forgiving recipe. It's supposed to be artsy and it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. Again, you're not a factory, so expect some imperfections. See how some of them are a little bit less straight than the others? Oh well, not a big deal. Begin rolling one up, and then you're just going to roll them on top of each other. I will tell you this gets really heavy as you go. Take your time. The slower you go and the tighter the swirl you get, the prettier it will look in the end. I'll just show you a few and then we're going to move on to the next step. I do suggest overlapping these slightly because I found when you don't overlap them, they tend to just fall apart as they rise and it won't look as a pretty swirl as you're going for. If you do forget to overlap it, it's okay. It will still look absolutely beautiful. It's really heavy at this point and it's taking a little bit more time, and as you can see, this one was thinner than the other one, but it's okay. Now if you're having trouble getting that little part to stick, just wet your finger with some water and then you should be able to stick it onto the roll just like this. We're going to put this on a baking sheet. If it's not nonstick, you want to line it with something such as parchment paper or grease and flour it. You're going to place it in the middle and then you just want to cover it for 45 minutes with some plastic wrap, or a damp towel even would work, but I do recommend the plastic wrap as it can stick. Preheat your oven to 350 Fahrenheit or 180 C when that 45 minutes is up, and after it's finished preheating, you're going to bake it. It should look similar to this. If you like, at the end, you can sprinkle on some more of that Parmesan cheese and it will really look nice. The Parmesan cheese will come out of the cracks as it rises, and that is to be expected. But if you put a little bit more on top, you'll get this nice golden brown as it bakes. It's absolutely beautiful. You want to bake this in the oven 35 to 45 minutes or until the center reaches 190 degrees Fahrenheit or 88 degrees Celsius, or it just looks like this. It'll be a very lovely loaf. Let it cool slightly before you cut into it. That way it will give a chance for that cheese to cool down slightly and it will be even better. I like to let it cool about an hour and just serve it with dinner. Let me show you what it looks like when you cut into it. And if you did the butter right and didn't melt it, it should have some clear, definitive layers to it. If you do let the butter melt, it will not have as many layers, but it will still be absolutely delicious. If you can see in the middle, there are some air pockets. That's normal if you have extra butter in that area, but it separates really beautifully, and it's just a fun recipe to share with people. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Visit us at jacksonsjob.com for more, and as always, happy baking.